Hi there, I'm Joyce and this is Rebecca, and today we're in our lovely greenhouse and we're going to talk to you about what's in our soil mix. But before that, what's the function of soil? The main functions of soil for a plant is 1, to anchor the plant into a planting medium, 2, to allow the roots to have the max amount of nutrients, water, and air that it needs, and 3, to allow the roots to grow deeply into the soil. Okay, so why is soil important when I'm trying to grow seeds?
When you're growing seedlings, a little seed has everything it needs to germinate. Yes. What you need to provide is water. So we don't use dirt and we don't use soil from the garden. Dirt is what you sweep off the kitchen floor. Soil from the garden is filled with millions of microbes and it's wonderful to plant out there. But when you're seeding, you want to mix like a soilless mixture. A seeding mixture is very fine, small particles, has very good water retention, so it keeps your seed just at the right amount of water, not too wet and not too dry. And they're generally soil-less mixtures. This one, for example, is made up of sphagnum peat moss and vermiculite and coir pith, and it's also generally the right pH for seeds to sprout as well.
Great. So what does LEAF use? Well, we've established that we use a soilless mix, and you probably do too at home if you're buying potting soil from your local hardware store. We actually mix our own container media. It usually consists of some kind of bag of potting soil. This is what we currently use, and here are examples of what we've used in the past. One thing that they have in common is that they're all OMRI certified, and OMRI stands for Organic Materials Review Institute. So if you think of certified organic, OMRI is like that one level higher. So we source all OMRI products. So we mix our potting soil mix with additional coconut coir, and what that does is that it adds, increases the porosity as well as the water retention, especially when and we need that little extra kick because when we're growing all of these seeds in these tiny cell packs, they need a little bit of a boost to keep them going. One more thing that we add is we add a slow release organic fertilizer into our potting soil mix when we transplant seedlings into our 4-inch pots. But if you don't want to mix your own soil, there's plenty of great options that you can get. This one here is an example of a seed starting mix. You can just use that without mixing any additional ingredients in there.
So when you're doing your own seeding at home, something you have to be very careful of is making sure that you have the right moisture in your seedling mix. Now, when you water things, you need to look with your eyes, you need to touch and see how heavy it is, because obviously something that's more wet will be more heavy, and you need to stick your finger right in to see the amount of moisture that's in it. And if you're having trouble and you don't know how moist things should be, and this goes for your seeding mix and your pots outside, is you can get a soil meter, and it tells you, for example, this is dry as a bone. This one is slightly moist. It probably won't need water for a day or two. And this one is completely soaked and wet. So this wouldn't need water for quite a while. Now this one right here, it says that it's pretty moist. And it is actually the right texture that you would want for when you are going to seed your mixture, because you want to pre-wet your soil so it's nice and moist. It's not enough that like leaks water. It just is nice and moist. So then you plant your seeds in it, and then you cover it with just a little bit more soil, and then you just very carefully water it, because if you pour too much water on it, your seeds will float up or they will go all the way down and your seeding might be ruined. And for example, soil that is turned hydrophobic has no water left in it, and it's lost the ability to hold water. So if you tried to plant in something that was dry and then you went to water it, you would just have a giant mixture of soup. And it would take quite a while for this to absorb all of the water. And then you would pour the rest of the water off, let it sit for a while, then you could plant in it.
Yeah, so you need to condition dry, if you have dry soil, you should condition it a little bit with water.
And warm water actually really works well.
Oh, okay, good to know. So I have a question for you, Rebecca. So if I were to increase the drainage of a pot, wouldn't I just put some gravel in at the bottom or some rocks and that would improve it?
Actually, no. If you do that, you're going to create a perched water table. Now, when you fill something with soil and then you water it, the soil holds onto the moisture. Gravity tries to take it down, but the capillary action of the soil tries to bring it up, and so it always sits at the exact same level. So if you had this pot and you put in this much gravel and then you put in the rest with soil, your perched water table would be sitting about there. So you are essentially making yourself a smaller, shorter pot, where that's not very good for your plants because you want them to go down deep to search for the moisture and not stay shallow. So you do not need any type of drainage in the bottom of pots that have nice holes in them. Fill the whole thing with soil when you put your seedling in here. And yeah, so gravel or shards of pots or anything, that is essentially an old wives' tale.
Don't add gravel to the bottom of your pot.
No.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
And that's it for today.
Thank you very much.